This time on Inside Roane State, an update on the search for Roane State's next president. Find out what's new at the library. And we'll visit Roane State's HAM-GLUTE Observatory. This is Inside Roane State for September 2012. The three finalists for the presidency of Roane State Community College participated in campus forums and community receptions at the end of August. The finalists are Dr. Elizabeth Lewis, Vice President of Academic Affairs at Northeast Lakeview College in Universal City, Texas; Dr. Michael Stoy, President of Middle Georgia College in Cochran, Georgia; and Dr. Chris Whaley, Vice President of Student Learning and Chief Academic Officer at Roane State. The Tennessee Board of Regents charged a search committee composed of faculty, staff, student, and business representatives to narrow the field of candidates. After the interviews and campus visits, TBR Chancellor John Morgan was set to gather committee member feedback and make the final selection for recommendation to TBR for approval. Administrators, faculty, and staff are welcoming students back to campus for fall semester.
We realize it's both exciting and it can also be intimidating, particularly for first-time students. Number one, it is going to be perhaps among the most challenging times that you have as you enter into higher education. The curriculum in our program is very, very rigorous, and so just be mentally prepared for that. When instructors give assignments to read, things they want you to look at, quizzes to prepare for, papers to write, they're very, very serious about that. Don't be afraid to seek out and ask for help. There are so many resources at Roane State Community College for students to be able to take advantage of. Just some of them, we have wonderful learning centers where we have tutors and folks that will help you write papers and study math that just absolutely feels like it's overwhelming, to some students. We have the Center for Teaching Arts and Technology, we call CTAT, which helps students, many of whom are enrolled in online courses, as well as the folks in our library. The research that you need to do to write papers. I mean, we don't believe in Wikipedia. We do honest to goodness research. There are resources out there. Just don't be afraid to seek them out. That's what we're here for. We want students to succeed, and we want them to utilize those resources. The final thing that I would mention is for students to make sure that they connect with the faculty members who are their teachers. It makes a big difference if your faculty member gets to know who you are, and particularly for students to find out who their faculty advisor is and to meet with that person and get to know them.
I think it's really important that students be present. When I say be present, I just kind of mean be involved in the culture of college and Roane State. Be involved in the classroom, in co-curricular activities like the Learning Center, the library, maybe form some study groups with their friends, but it's also important to be involved in extracurricular activities, be it a club, a student activities. Some good examples of the things that we have coming up in the fall. We have a diversity week at the end of September. We're going to be showing some movies. We're going to have a diversity fair with a henna artist on the Harriman campus and the Oak Ridge campus. And in late October, we always have a fall fest. This year, we're going to have a face painter and a balloon artist. We always have hot dogs, and it's always a great time. And this year, we're going to welcome a paranormal investigator named Chad Calick, and he's actually going to give a speech about his studies and his documentary films that he makes. So we're really excited, and I think it's really important that students get involved, and they're just a part of Roane State. It will really affect their success level for sure.
Summertime brought changes to two of Roane State's libraries. The Roane County Campus Library is an even more comfortable place for students, faculty, and the public after a new heating and cooling system was installed this summer. And the Oak Ridge Campus Library saw an expansion to the computer lab and a modified layout.
Our library is open not just to students and also to faculty, but we are also open to our community residents, and a community member can come and get a library card from us. They need to bring a driver's license or some ID. And once you have a library card, you can check out most any book in the library. Books go out for 2 weeks at a time, and we do have a new book section, so all of the newest books that we've bought are in the Harriman library downstairs on the first floor by the windows. And you'll be, I hope, impressed with the variety of resources that you find there, fun reads as well as some of the more academic reads that our students require for class.
The library also showcases a young adult section featuring titles like The Hunger Games. New at the Campbell County campus is a high-definition camera in the Learning Center. The camera will help connect the Learning Center to librarians at the Roane County campus when students in Campbell County need research help.
We're also going to be looking at the use of iPads in the classrooms as well as in the library. So students can look forward to the ability to check out iPads in the library for in-library use.
An in-house DVD collection and online streaming video databases are also available. More information about Roane State's library system is available at www.roanestate.edu/library. Libraries are on site at the Roane County, Oak Ridge, and Scott County campuses, but students who check out books online can have them delivered to the campus of their convenience. That delivery service is free.
The Learning Center is a tutoring center. We offer free tutoring in reading, writing, math, whatever you got, bring it in, we'll help you with it. We're branching out into nursing and the sciences this fall. It's completely free. It's very exciting.
We get students from all different backgrounds. We have students who are non-traditional students who come in and want to get back into the swing of things. But we also have students who are right out of high school who just want to get an idea of what college is about, and pretty much everything in between. Straight A students, students who are failing their classes, and students who just want to improve the grade that they have.
What we want to do is help you become a better student. So not only do we tutor you in the classes that you're in, but we try to provide you with study tools and learning tools to help you become more self-sufficient as a student on your own.
We also have help available online. I don't think all students realize that. We have, once you log into Momentum, underneath the students' courses, there's the Learning Resources group, and it says Learning Center Online. So students who are taking web classes, for example, or who have trouble getting to any of the campuses can also get help. They can submit papers for review by other tutors, so that if they want to get some feedback on an essay. They can also get help with math problems. There are chats in there for all the different math classes that the students are taking. So they can ask a question and a tutor will answer it. We also have science chat rooms, and we have newly added a Spanish chat room. So there are places where you can get help even if you can't get to any of the campuses.
The key to the Learning Center is wherever you are, we help you do better.
Roane State's Raiders baseball team and Lady Raiders softball team have hit the field for another season of play. Here's a look at their schedules for this season. Coming up, a visit to Roane State's Tam-Kee-Allen Observatory, and we'll get fit, stay fit with prehab exercises. Stay tuned. You might be surprised to learn that Roane State operates a fully functioning observatory. The Tam-Kee-Allen Observatory is located off Caney Creek Road south of Roane County Park on a hilltop overlooking Watts Bar Lake.
We try to open up the skies to the students and to the people of Roane County and the adjacent counties in East Tennessee. We're the only state college observatory that's operating in Tennessee. And we have a lot of things going on. So we start with optical astronomy. We have a lot of telescopes out. Some are computer controlled and we can take very interesting and excellent astrophotos. Others are hands-on. We have a 96-inch long telescope in one of our domes, which is actually sized according to the size of its objective. So we say it's an 8-inch telescope, meaning it's got an 8-inch lens in the front. So that's a hands-on telescope. We start out with optical astronomy, and then for people who have an inclination, such as myself, we also include radio astronomy and physics, and talk about other aspects of astronomy.
The Tam-Kee-Allen Observatory was named for college benefactors.
What really made it happen are some donations of land by the Tam-Kee and the Allen families, and land here by the Schwindler family, and donation of telescopes and one telescope lens, which we used for a while. And it became exciting because The origin of the lens became questionable. We got another lens, and actually ended up with a really wonderful telescope. The little dome is really owned by an amateur astronomer, a friend of mine, D.R. Fudge, and it's a neat dome. It's plastic and it's very flexible in terms of what one can do with it. So how he happened to come by it, to acquire it, was that as they were designing and building this type of POD domes, personal observatory domes, he made the suggestion, why don't you put phosphorescent chemicals in one of them and it would glow a little bit. So they did it and they started marketing it, and he felt he had to have one. So he doesn't have a good spot, but we have a good spot, and everyone benefits. The college benefits, the students benefit, the visitors benefit.
The observatory hosts public stargazes on the first and third Saturdays of each month, weather permitting. Lecture and group discussion starts at 7:30 p.m. and the group moves outdoors for some telescope time when night falls. The observatory draws people of all ages and interest levels, including visitors from Europe and Asia who are in the area to work in Oak Ridge. It's also a fun activity for local families.
It's pretty neat. We thought we'd bring the kids over here to see what they thought about being able to look at stars. Yeah, but we didn't have any, we had no idea what to expect when we came out here, so we were lucky we could just find it.
Things are always happening. This year we've had one solar eclipse visible almost from here, visible from Chilhowie Mountain. We've had the transit of Venus, and there's a video on the web taken by my friend, amateur astronomer John Preston. The Venus transit was one in which the visitors here, we had about 60 people, with their telescopes, their projection telescopes, and so forth, were able to see Venus crossing the disk of the sun. And it was pretty spectacular. That was intriguing. That was on June 5th.
Dr. Fields says light pollution is becoming a bigger problem for astronomers and other people who enjoy looking at the night sky.
We try to get away from the city lights. There are other observatories around. Usually the cities are built up around them. So you don't see much. You see all these lights, tens of thousands of dollars worth of lights, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of power cost to light the street lights. And unfortunately, we don't point them at the ground where we want them. We point them at the sky. It's a great way to sell lights and a great way for TVA to sell electricity, but it's not so great for migrating birds, turtles, nightlife that has to hide from, say, foxes, and it tends to irritate astronomers. So
the group Save Roane Starry Skies works to educate people on light pollution. You'll find more information at www.saveroanestarryskies.org. To learn more about Roane State's Tamke Allen Observatory, go to www.roanestate.edu/OBS. Students who recently graduated with degrees in interdisciplinary studies celebrated their accomplishments with dinner and cake at a local park on August 14th. The students were part of Tennessee Tech University's Fast Track class of 2012. Students had enrolled in courses through Tennessee Tech, but attended classes at Roane State's Oak Ridge campus.
It's a wonderful degree for people who already have a skill, that have an associate's degree, and they need a degree in order to be promoted in their fields.
The Interdisciplinary Studies program is designed for working adults, with classes on weekday evenings. Concentrations are offered in psychology, human behavior management, and organizational management.
To be 35 years old and finishing your bachelor's degree with 2 children, it really feels great. I am very proud of myself and proud of my accomplishment.
The partnership between Tennessee Tech and Roane State allows local students to complete the bachelor's degree program without having to commute a long distance to Tennessee Tech's campus in Cookeville.
I just lived 10 minutes from the Oak Ridge campus. I couldn't have done this unless this program was offered at Roane State.
Graduated from Harriman High School in 1987. Decided to go into TV my senior year. Everyone else was toying with the idea of engineering or doctors, and didn't really think that that was the avenue that was for me. And one day watching a basketball game, I think it was the Bulls and 76ers, and just kind of saw past the game just to the production aspect of it, and decided that that might be something I wanted to do. Then also I saw like a piece like on the PBS station about this guy who grew up, went to school, went off, worked at the Olympics on the TV side of things, and that just kind of sealed it for me, that was something that I wanted to do. I'm one of the only people I think graduated from Harriman. When you go back and you look at what they want to be after they get out of school, that it actually says broadcasting on one of my list of things as a graduate. So from there I went to Roane State. In and out a little bit at Roane State. Took a lot of transfer credit courses at Roane State, and eventually I transferred to MTSU fall of '91, actually spring of '91. And they had a good program. I spent a lot of time at the student station at MTSU, and got on as many different projects as a student as you could possibly get into, and then interned at WKR in Nashville. My last year there, got to do a lot of different things. Actually, I did 2 internships. I did an internship with a place called Studio Productions, and I worked on things like music videos, after school special type programming. So I kind of wanted to branch out and make sure I covered all the bases of what I might want to do, but then eventually settled on working in news.
Harkness used his internship at WKRN to improve his skills, and the TV station hired him as a technical director. After several years of directing, he moved into production management.
I did that for quite a while. I was at WKRN for 18 years, and of course, eventually you run out of challenges. And of course, eventually I ran out of challenges there, and I just decided that it was a good time to branch out. I had a buddy that years before that moved on to ESPN, and contacted him, contacted some more people, did my research to make sure that it was a move that I was willing to make, and applied. And I've been there, but at this point, 8 months now. It has been an interesting experience, much different than, of course, the local level. Of course, there's so many people involved in the product. There are so many moving pieces. So the level of responsibility is so much greater at the network level for a director than there is at the local level. But it's definitely been a good experience for me thus far.
His advice for students who want broadcasting careers?
First of all, go to school. Absolutely, and get as much experience outside the classroom as you possibly can. My broadcast career started off as an intern, so therefore I'm big on interns. When I was a hiring manager at WKRN, if I had 2 applicants that were exactly the same, one had interned and one had not interned, I always hired the intern. Interning is broadcast experience. It is professional experience. You are out there, you are working side by side with professionals, you are in a professional environment. Anything you can get out of that. If you get context from your professors that you can go out and do freelance jobs, people don't realize you can still work. You can go to school and you can work as a professional at the same time. I did it, and I know several people that do it. They get freelance jobs as students. So gather as much out of classroom experience as you possibly can, because that's what's going to separate you. All your peers will have their degree on their resume, but not all your peers will have professional experience on their resumes. So as much of that as you can do would be great.
Growing up in small-town Harriman and attending Roane State has given Harkness some perspective along the way.
I think I appreciate the journey a little bit more. Sometimes, I do catch myself just kind of stopping and thinking, and how did a little kid from Harriman, an average guy, just an average student from Harriman, end up here? I'm sitting there and I'm directing Sports Center. I'm just this kid from Harriman. How did this happen to me? But surprisingly enough, ESPN is in a very small town. Not much different from Harriman itself. So it's like coming full circle. Small city to a bigger city in Nashville, and now back to a smaller city, just a bigger scale as far as professionally.
We're talking today about prehab.
Sure.
And I know you and I both are really big on prehab.
Yeah.
Can you just tell those out there listening that maybe don't know what we're talking about, what is prehab and what is the importance of it as it relates to our young athletes?
Okay. So prehab is a vital concept. It's that training period before we start full training, and it's also a type of training that we continue throughout the training process. So prehab is a set of exercises and stretches that are designed to target weaknesses within the athlete or just the everyday person that could lead to further injuries or problems down the road.
Is this something that should be ongoing throughout a season, or should we just kind of push it aside after a couple of weeks?
Yeah. Definitely, prehab should be something that is ongoing throughout the season. So 2 to 3 weeks before the season, before the training starts, is a great time to start. And then as they get into the weight training, maybe spending 10 to 15 minutes per workout session on prehab exercises. These will help to decrease the amount of injuries we see out of the athletes. Some of the basic prehab exercises I like to see are planks, side bridges, glute bridges. These are all good core prehab type exercises. Other exercises for other sports such as baseball or softball, we'd want to see a lot of scapular stabilizing exercises, such as we'll take a physio ball and do some motions on the wall to help engage the scapular muscles to keep the scapula adhered to the thoracic cage during the throwing motions.
All right, well great. And finally, I just want to thank you again for just everything that you're doing. And go see Dr. Miller. He does a great job, tremendous work, and he cares about what he does, and most importantly, he cares about our athletes, and that's what it's all about. And so as we conclude here, we're ending up with our series on strength and conditioning for athletes, but I'm going to leave you with some of my favorite prehab exercises that I use with my athletes on a regular basis. Thanks. The first exercise that we're going to do is a HAM-GLUTE bridge. All right, so he's already in a good position for that. I'm going to go ahead and ask him to go ahead and start the exercise. If you notice here, what we're trying to do is we're going to initiate the movement from the heels. So he's going to drive from his heels, and then at the top he'll pause for a second and he's going to squeeze his glutes. Again, this is a ham and glute, so we're talking about our hamstrings and then also our glute muscles. So this is a posterior chain exercise. And we talked a little bit about that before, about the importance of posterior chain exercises, especially with our female athletes who are more prone to ACL injuries. All right, next exercise that we're going to be showing is a hamstring curl from the physio ball. All right, so we're still staying with the posterior chain. Good. He's got his legs up on the ball. He's bridged up just like the ham-glute bridge. He's going to stay in that bridge position, and then he's simply going to roll the ball in using his hamstring muscles here. All right, again, we're talking about the posterior chain. We're working with our ham, also with our glute. This is also a great exercise, both the ham-glute bridge and this as well, the hamstring curl, for lower back. All right, so we're helping our spine as well. All right, the next exercise we're going to move to is our clam exercise. And I'm going to go ahead and ask Alex to begin. What we're trying to do here is we're obviously working with some abduction of the hips. So we're working our hip area. Also, we're working our gluteus medius as well. So it's going to be working on the glutes. Great exercise here to prevent knee injuries as well, and also strengthen our hips. As athletes, we don't really think about it a lot of times, but our hips are going to be our power source. So we want to make sure that we're strong in that area. Right now, what we're going to be performing is an isometric groin squeeze using a volleyball. So Alex is going to go ahead and begin. He's going to squeeze for 5 seconds. The ball's in between his knees, and then he'll release. He'll squeeze for 5, hold that, again isometrically, and then release. Again, we're working on the groin area, especially for basketball players. When you're changing direction constantly, we want to make sure that we're working our groin. So this is a great prehab exercise for that. All right, next exercise is going to be a 3-way balance touch using the Eric's pad. And this is actually one of my favorite toys right now. So Alex is going to go ahead and stand unilaterally. So we're going to load up on a single leg. He's going to get in a good power position. So his chest is over his knees, over his toes. We're going to make it specific because he's holding the basketball, and he's going to go ahead and touch out 3 different ways. Stretching out with his toes, he's going to go out in front, and he'll touch out to the side, and then he'll go to the back. We're working on proprioception here, or balance, really firing off his ankles. You can see them moving there, so it's great to strengthen the ankles. Also for knee stability, and then you're going to get a great workout also on your quads and then on your glutes as well. The other exercise that we use for balance is going to be a single leg cone touch. So he's going to go ahead and load up again on one leg, or unilaterally. His knee's going to be bent just a little bit. He's going to go ahead and go across his body and try to touch the cone. All right, very difficult to do this. Really requires a lot of balance. If you notice, we're having him do it without his shoes on. If he had his shoes on, he'd be a little bit more stable. So we're adding in a little bit of instability. So it's going to be a great exercise. Again, it's going to strengthen the ankles, also the knee. It's going to work the quads a little bit. And again, great for your balance as well. All right, now we're going to be showing the scapular stabilization using the physio ball. So you're going to go ahead and put his arm out, He's going to put his weight up against the ball. I want to make sure that his shoulders are square. Again, his weight's against the ball. And he's just going to do some circles with the ball, again with his weight against it. Again, we're working on stabilization here of our shoulder blades, or the scapular area. All right, we also want to make sure that we're working on mobility with our athletes. So this is going to be a great exercise. We're going to call these our overs. So he's going to go ahead and step over the rope. Again, we're working on hip mobility here, and then he's going to come back. So he's going forward, and he's going to come back with that. So this is going to be our over exercise. Again, working on hip mobility, making sure that whether they're out on the field or on the floor, that they're moving the way that they should be, more efficiently. Good job. What we usually do is we'll go over and back would be 1 repetition. We'll go for 10 reps on this. All right, so now we're going to work the opposite of the overs. We're going to go under. Still working on the hips, so go ahead and step under. So he's going to duck under. Right there, really getting a great stretch there. Obviously we're working on a squat here, so we're working our legs, but also working on our hips as well, getting some flexibility or mobility in that area. Really going to help our athletes as they get into our squat exercises, or as they get out on the floor, specifically with basketball players getting low in a defensive position. It's going to allow for overall better movement.